Well, hi there, everybody. It's Lee with Grimmleighs Fiends. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. We're all about the monsters, myths, and magic. Today is day 19 of Inktober. Today's prompt is loop. So let's get started on that. So loop. Loop is one of those prompts that when I saw it, I immediately thought to myself, what are you doing? Why are you doing Inktober to yourself this year? What are you going to do for loop? Why? Why are you doing this? And the answer was pretty much because. I'm doing it because. There is no better answer. Rules that I have set out for myself here is that the drawing needs to be done in 20 minutes or less. And there are a couple other rules that I set in place for myself as well. The most important of all of them being that I needed to make it monstrous. Whatever the prompt was, I needed to make it monstrous. So, here we are, making a monstrous loop. I had this idea the other night that perhaps I could make something monstrous that contained a loop. And the idea that came to me was a little bit on the silly side, which is probably a surprise to anybody because, as I've mentioned before, every one of these videos has been so incredibly serious and realistic. How do you make something that's so obviously a frog monstrous? You give it horns. There's no such thing as an amphibious creature with horns in nature, right? Don't be goofy here. Kind of funny to put a kid with a toy truck or a Matchbox car staring longingly at that looped tongue. If you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get to the ink. We're 3 minutes in. Really, if there's any lesson that has been pounded home day after day during this Inktober challenge, is that it doesn't matter what the prompt is. It doesn't matter how difficult or uninspiring the prompt is. What you really need to do is sit down and draw. That prompt is going to cause you to reach into some creative stores that you may not have known you had. You may find yourself doing something completely surprising, unexpected, something that you didn't know was inside you waiting for some reason to come out. You didn't realize you had a loop-de-loop toad hiding somewhere in your subconscious, hoping for a ridiculous art prompt to bring it crashing and burping into life. That if anything, nearly 3 weeks into the challenge, is my takeaway about this whole thing. It's just good for the creative process. It's also helped me in a couple ways that I didn't expect too. It's brought back some muscle memory that I had been struggling with because I've been doing so much digital illustration. And if you've ever used the Apple iPad for illustration, it's great. You can do a lot of things with it, but your hands get used to holding the Apple Pencil, which is heavier and it's longer, has a different size barrel on it than what you're used to working with when you're working with traditional media. And so it's been fun for me to have this muscle memory come crashing back from years of working in digital media. This is probably the most traditional illustration that I've done, I'd say since the mid-2000 teens. It's been fun. It's been fun to revisit this stuff and revisit old techniques that I haven't used in a long time. And it's funny because it's not like I prefer digital media. Digital is just easier to store more than anything. That's probably the reason why I found myself gravitating towards it. You don't have, like already here on day 18, since I draw primarily on cardstock, I have a huge stack of artwork laying about, and that's cool. I'm happy with that. Probably get it photographed and post it up on my website or my blog. And maybe if there's enough of it, maybe I'll put it together in a sketchbook or something. But all my digital work, it's just right there on my iPad, which is fun. Okay, we're 8 minutes into this project, so still plenty of time. Might be able to use a little bit of ink wash to flesh out a couple things that I want to bring some emphasis to. The hardest things to remember for me is to draw by dragging my hand across the surface instead of pivoting with my wrist. I've always drawn by pivoting with my wrist, which means that, well, for one thing, you end up with a much more fatigue and pressure on your wrist, which is bad for you long term. But it also means that you're limiting your total movement. And so by dragging your wrist or dragging your hand across your art surface, you're getting that full range of motion that can come along with that. And I struggle with that every single time I draw. I just want to use my whole hand. Just want to pivot from that wrist. That's what I've always done. Dang it, that's worked for me for so many years. Alright, we're 14 minutes in. Still have 6 minutes. I think we should do some fun with the eyes. fussing around point where I'll just continue to fuss around with it forever. So that's where you get to the point where you go, okay, stop, move on. So you get halfway through erasing and realize that you forgot to put some definition on a very important part of the drawing. So then you can go back messing around some more. We have roughly 3 minutes. Let's play a little bit with ink. Let's see what we can do. A little bit of ink wash. Get some quick definition in there. We're running out of time already. Take a little cleaning up. Can't have that mess down there. All right, that's 20 minutes. Pretty much on the nose. Let's get this thing signed, or it's not official. What are we at? Day 19? I think we're at day 19. All right. There you have it. That is Inktober day 19 for 2021. The prompt was loop, so we made a amphibious monster with a loopy tongue. If you like what we're doing here on Grimmleighs, make sure to give the channel a like, and you could, of course, let us haunt you forever by subscribing to the channel. We'll never go away. That's it for today. Of course, we do have a dedicated playlist of Inktober 2021 content. You can check that out. And the best is yet to come.